Hello, friend. Welcome all of you in my new learning series, episode 2. Today, I discuss on top React interview question. I wish with help of this amazing tutorial, you will crack the interview. Just stay with me in this journey. It will not be only helpful for freshers developer. It will be also helpful for experienced developer as well. So just stay with me. And what I want to say before moving to the next slide, at first we know what is React. So React is an open source JavaScript library. React is used for building user interface, and React simplify by the creation of single page application using reusable component. So first of all, question that what is open source? Open source, that means we not need to pay anything to anyone. In ASP.NET, VB.NET, we have to buy license, but here we not need to buy anything, and it's a single page application. So, oh, what is single page application? We know definitely in details in next slide. Let's move to the next slide, and you can see in this slide here I list down all the single page application here, but React appears on the top now. So after that, Angular, Vue.js, I think you are also familiar with this JavaScript framework. So these are the ranking. And next, what is the difference between React and Angular? So if you work with Angular, uh, then you just see the difference. React is a JavaScript library, whereas Angular is a complete framework. React uses virtual DOM, which make it faster. Angular uses a real DOM. So what is virtual DOM? Definitely we know in details. So virtual DOM is a lightweight in-memory 3D representation of the original DOM. So due to that reason, it's very faster. Here, that's why the it is winner. And React is smaller in size and lightweight and therefore faster sometimes. Angular is bigger because it is a complete framework. React depends on external libraries for many complex features, so developer has to write many lines of code for complex functionalities. Whereas since Angular is a complete framework, therefore it provides built-in support feature like routing, form validation, and HTTP requests. React is simple to learn and more popular than Angular, whereas Angular is slightly different to learn as it has TypeScript, OOPS concept, and many more things. So I think many more you always familiar with Vue.js also. So React and Vue both are single page application. So here is the difference. So type wise, it is a library and Vue is framework. And learning curve, if you it's stiffer, whereas it's gentle. It's use JSX and hooks. Here it is HTML based template. And state management required Redux, also context API. In React we use context API, but in Vue, build in Vuex, Pinia. Performance wise, it uses virtual DOM, which is very fast. And in Vue, it is also use virtual DOM with optimization. Syntax, here it is JSX, which is combination of JavaScript and HTML mix, and Vue HTML template plus directive. Flexibility high, very high, and it's moderate. Ecosystem large, React Native, etc. are here integrated Vue writer, best for complex scalable application, whereas Vue rapid development and prototyping. So to crack the interview, we have to know this basic question, and it's not only for freshers. I suggest, recommend, or experience also, as because when experience working in with React.js application, what happens sometimes they knowingly unknowingly they work with, and but somehow they technically during interview they not able to express with proper terminology. So I recommend everyone just go through this question and just give one line but compact answer. So what is React, what is role of React, what are the key feature of React, what is DOM, difference between DOM and virtual DOM, what is single page application, what are five advantages of React. So please go through this question before or just facing the interview. If you go through this question, definitely you will crack the interview. So it's my highly recommendation to all of you. So what are the key features of React? So you can see from the diagram, first of all, already spoke, it's virtual DOM, component based architecture, reusability and composition. It uses JSX, JavaScript, XML. It is declarative syntax. Its community and ecosystem highly supported, and its uses React hooks. So these are the seven key feature of the React. And please go through this question. Already I told you. And next, just we should know what is DOM and virtual DOM. We know that AngularJS use DOM, but React uses virtual DOM. So what is the difference between them? DOM is a actual representation of the web page, whereas virtual DOM is lightweight copy of that DOM. It re-renders the entire page when update occur. Re-renders only the changes part efficiently. In case of virtual DOM, can be slower, especially with frequent update. Here, optimization for faster rendering. In DOM, suitable for static website and simple application. But virtual DOM is very ideal for dynamic and complex single page application with frequent update. What is single page application? So you can see the diagram is on the right side. A single page application is a web application that have only one single web page. Whenever user do some action on the website, then in response content is dynamically updated without refreshing or loading a new page. This is the uniqueness, without refreshing or loading a new page. So just now when interviewer ask you the question, so be specific, to the point, just answer. And I also recommend just go through this basic question in what is arrow function, and how to set up React first project, how what are the main files in React project. As because nowadays is interviewer, to crack you really learn React or you really know or not, they just told you to directly write some React code. Maybe say they told you just write a code to fetch a data. So how you quickly run this, how you write the code, what is your coding writing approach. So they all observe that thing. So what I strongly recommend all of you, just practice these things as well. And as that what we are doing normally, basically we taking help from the chat gpt, deepseek, and we just copy paste the things. Is as because if you write anything in ChatGPT and DeepSeek, they give the answer. But what I especially recommend you, just you try to memorize and basic things. Suppose fetching data, suppose parent to child with help of properties, you how you send the data, and child to parent how you send the data. So basic things. At least you quickly write the code without taking help from the chat gpt deepseek, as because interviewer not allow you to use google or chat gpt deepseek. So I hope you understand and you will practice and you crack the interview. So let's just also go through this question and prepare for that specific answer. If you need answer of this question in details, just let me know, or just send me email. Definitely I will try to cover in my next learning series episode 3 all those things. But what I recommend, just by yourself you collect the question answer. Here I am discussing few important question which is very helpful for you to crack the interview. What are props in JSX? Props, that means properties. Pro, props are a way to pass data from a parent component to child component. So from this example, it's very clear. Here you can see app is the parent component or core component, and it's called the child component. And from parent component to child component, we pass data. two property name and purpose. So you can see how in child component we access the data props.name and props.purpose. So just try to memorize these things. I think if you work in React, then it is already but when interviewer asks this question, just one line specific answer try to give on that time, and prepare for those all the question what I listed here, like basic question: what is npm, what is the role of public folder, what is the role of research folder, what is the role of index.html, what is the role of index.js. So I know we all know that the index.js, this is the only single page, and when client say or you any user through browser send the request, it's accept request lifecycle, it's accepted by the request received by the index.html. And what is the lifecycle, how this request is working. So we have to know each and everything, so be prepared for that. It is my strong recommendation all of you. How React app loads and display, just keep this diagram in your or memory, as that you clearly explained, you can express easily to the interviewer. Now, when any request coming, it is received by the index.html. After that index.html, how it's communicate in index.html, it's loaded the index.js with help of React library, and index.js is the entry point from where React library is load, and it's called the API component, API app.js, the root component, and root component also called the all the child component. How and after that it goes to the it's just reflected on the index.html id is equal to root, the it is replaced. So this thing you should be very clear. This is the basic thing. Here also the a1 and how React upload and display the component in browser. So clear pictorial view. So index.html is responsible for single page with loads index.js by React libraries. After that index.js replace root element of index.html file by app component. App.js, which is root component, which is the container of all the child component, and child component.js child custom child component placed over app component. And this is the JSX related. So JSX, already I told, JSX stand for JavaScript and XML. JavaScript, actually JSX is a high level language, JavaScript also high level language. But browser only able to understand only JavaScript, not able to understand JSX. So there is a transpiler in between. The name of the transpiler is Babel, uh, which translate JSX to JavaScript, which run in the browser. So, what are the five advantage of JSX? So we should know each and every basic. It is very basic question, but we should know. I recommend you just go through all the question. It is very helpful to crack the interview. So here I am just define what is the role of JSX. If interviewer asks me, you then just simply tell JSX stand for JavaScript XML. JSX is used by React to write HTML like code. JSX is converted JavaScript via tools like Babel, because browser understand JavaScript, not JSX. What I told you, just okay. Here you can see the example. How actually this is on left side. This is the JSX code. It's HTML like code. Okay, but when with help of Babel, it is transferred to JavaScript. It's what we use in earlier in JavaScript. You can see it, the React.create element. After that, React.create element div class name React. So in this way, its code is generated. And component function, this is also very important. And what are React components, what are the main element of it, what are the types of React component, what are functional component. And so we know the React functional based component and class based component. There is basically two type of component. Nowadays, all we new developer, basically we worked on the functional based component, but functional based component. But before that, we all working on the class based component mainly, as because on the time only the state managed by class based component, but after introduction of hook, now functional based component also handle these things. So these are the basic things we have to know. We have to know how to pass data between class component with the role of this keyword. The question 8, what is the role of this keyword in the class component? So we have to know all the basic question to crack the interview. What are the five difference between functional component and class component? So we should know the basic things. So let's what are the React components? What are the main element of it? In React, a component is a reusable building block for creating user interface. So you can see here we import the React library. After that we define a functional component. It's a simple function, and the way we write in JavaScript in, and we have to export default components. So it is a functional based component. So, what are the type of React components? What are the functional components? Already I told you there are two kind of component: functional component and class component. Functional components are declared as a JavaScript function. They are stateless component, but with the help of hooks, they can now manage state also. Already I told you. So here you can see on the diagram that just it is a simple functional component, and just for remember purpose. And routing, also we need to know routing. What are routing is play a vital role, as because one page to another page, without reloading, refreshing the page. Only with help of routing we can achieve this. So routing, we should know routing, in how to implement routing in router and route component. In React routing, what are the roles of router and route? What are the router parameters in React routing? In route parameter, and what is the role of switch component in React routing? What is the role of exact prop in React routing? So all the question you should know. Next, how to implement routing in React. So this is a another library we have to install, another package, npm install React router DOM. This is the install to comment to install router. And you can see from the diagram we just import this library React router DOM, from where we get route and link. So you can see in the app route, how ULLI, the link we can use. This link, in generally in HTML we write AHREF, but here we use this link which is imported from React route DOM. But the difference is, in HTML page, if in a tag, if we click on that time, page is entirely loaded. But here, in this link, it is page will not be loaded. And you can see on the right side router, under that router path element, with the element we call the component. So how React routers and route work, this is the simple example I give here, as that you can recollect, easy to memorize. Is- so I think it will be very very helpful for all of you. And we should know hooks. It's a very very important things. Use state, use if effect, it's a very very useful. There is many more hooks, but this particular use state and use effect we commonly used many more places. So we have to know about the React hooks. What are the top React hooks? What are the state, stateless, stateful, and state management? What is the role of use state? What is the role of use effect? What is the dependency array in use effect hook? What are the meaning of the empty array in the use effect? So all are basic question we should know. Oh, here you can see what are React hook. What are the top React hooks? The question. So React hooks are inbuilt function provided by React that allow functional components to use state and lifecycle features. Before hooks, class components lifecycle method were used to maintain state in React application. To use React hook, first we first have to improve from React library. So you here I list down all the eight hooks: use state, use effect, use context, use reducer, use callback, use memo, use ref, use layout effect. So we should familiar with these hooks. What is the role of use state hook and how it works? The use state hook enable functional component to manage state. Use state function accept the initial state value as the parameter and return an array with two elements. The first element is the current state value and the second element is the function that is used to update the state. So I think it's very clear. And in React it somehow it's a common question in React: how can we pass data from a child component to parent component? So we just simply say in React passing data from a child component to parent component is typically done using callback function. And you just give this example. You can see here I use state hook and data from child and set data from child. After that what I did, here in child component we pass the set data to parent. And what we did in child component, set data to parent, and I just it's coming as a props. And after that here you can see in on click the handle click here, from here we just send the data. So after that it received by parent component handle data from child and save the data from child. So this is the simple example. I think it is very easy to understand, and you easily recall these things. And also one commonly asked a common question by the interviewer: what is the role of use effect, how it work, and what is its use? So we have to say just the use effect hook in React is used to perform side effect in functional component. For example, data fetching from API, subscription, or any other operation that need to be performed after the component has been rendered. So render after side effect by use effect, as for example loading data from external API. So already I mentioned and how data is showing after render initially. So I think from this diagram it's very clear what is the role of use effect, how it work, and what is its use. So use effect is called after the component renders. Example side effect use example side effects. Use effect function will accept two parameter: effect function, dependency area. So you can see in effect function and dependency area, third bracket there is no argument. And you can see when we return the data. So when this we just import use effect from React, and we write down the use effect the method here. So after our component renders its call, so we can not able to see data, but we see the data in console. You can see the data in console. I think it's very clear. What is dependency array in use effect hook? So dependency array I already marked in red color. You can see that I declare two use state: one is data, another is user id. Data set data and user id set user id. So with this use effect, when we call the fetch data, after that it is only changing. Side effect happen only if any user id is changed. So yeah, you can see on the right hand side, input type number value is equal to user id on change, set user id. So anything is changing, so on that time it is also change in user effect. So it's dependency array. This is the dependency array on changes of user id. So we have to recall these things. Why to avoid prop dealing? In how many ways can avoid prop dealing? So this is very common question. And so at first we have to know what is prop dealing problem. So sometimes we have to pass data parent to child, So on we know that we can easily pass data parent to child by using props, but sometimes also some data passed need to be passed in the grandchild. So on that time, okay, again we have to do the same. By using props we can send data, but if it is a many more layer, so maybe the data is require grandchild and grandchild, but immediate child have no record of this data. But in this case we have to pass data to child, then only we can send the data grandchild. So there is this is the problem. Any component which not require any data, although we will have to pass data, so it is very managing it's very difficult. For 2 3 we can easily manage, but if it is a very deep if tree, they on that time it is create problematic. To solve this problem we use the right hand side, avoiding this prop dealing. We store the data in a common place, and each and every component share the same data from the all the component easily. So I think it will be very just hold for 1 second. So what I am talking, yes, avoiding prop dealing. So this is the best approach how we avoid this prop dealing with help of common data share. Next we go to the slide, why to avoid prop dealing. In how many ways can avoid prop dealing? Why to avoid prop dealing? First of all, maintenance. It's very difficult to maintain as because prop dealing can make code harder to maintain as change in data flow require update across multiple components. Complexity, it increases code complexity and reduces code readability. Debugging, also very difficult. Debugging becomes challenging when props need to be traced through numerous components. So 5 ways to avoid prop dealing: using context API, using Redux, using component composition, using callback function, using custom hook. So these are the 5 ways by using we avoid easily the prop dealing. And it is also very important question, what are the top 3 ways to achieve state management? When to use what in React? So use state hook. When to use simple component level state. Reason, ideal for application having small components and isolate state because it is lightweight and built into React only. Context API. When to use prop dealing avoidance for sharing global data. Reason, simplify data passing through the component tree, reducing the need for manual prop drilling. Redux, when to use large scale application with complex state. Reason, centralize store and action, providing a predictable state management pattern, aiding in debugging and scalability. What is the code splitting in React? This is also very important question asked by the interviewer. So you have to prepare for this. Code splitting is a technique to split the JavaScript bundle into smaller chunks which is loaded on demand. So from the diagram you can see, without code splitting it's a single request, all bundle project files coming one single request. But with code splitting implementation, each chunk loaded on demand, there is separate request. So it is very easy uh, to understand, I think. How to implement code splitting in React? So we just simply say, need to say that use React lazy to lazy import components, wrap components with suspense to handle loading, configure your build tool as for example webpack for dynamic imports. Here is the example how to implement code splitting in React. So you can see there is one component, code split.js component, and this component I just simply load by using lazy for where from where we load this from React library, lazy and suspense. So here you can see in main app component, we under suspense we call this code split component here. And also we have to configure the webpack until unless it is not working. So how we webpack installation comment, need to be install webpack. This is the command: npm install webpack cli save dev. And in webpack.config.js under root, in this way we can and easily configure. And it is also very important question asked by the interviewer, so we should prepare for this. What is the role of component will unmount method in component lifecycle? So we know that this is applicable for class based component, not for functional based component. Lifecycle actually only for class based component. And we know, in class based component, there is a component lifecycle, and there is mainly three phases. One is mounting phase, another is updating phase, and another one is unmounting phase. Under mounting phase, there is constructor, render, component did mount. Under updating phase, there is render, component did update. And under unmounting phase, there is component will unmount. So when it is called when we unmounting. So on that time, the unmounted the functionality. So it's very clear from this diagram. First of all, render after constructor initialization, and you can see the diagram when a component is loaded. On that time, in constructor, basically in constructor, all the initialization on state, all the data we set, so that is already loaded during constructor method. And in rendered after component did mount. So when we eh, any data fetching in after component load, so in component did mount, you can see these things. And any update happened, you can see view all boxes. If someone and try click on this, so on that time some update happened, so we can change it, re-render after component did update on any state or property change. And finally, if I click on the cross button, you can see on that time before unmounting of component, actually this method before unmounting of component will unmount, this method will call, will do the cleanup task. It's basically it do the cleanup task. I think from this diagram it's very clear and easy to understand. So thank you all of you, and my wishes all of you, and you will success to crack the interview. Thank you so much.